EU connectivity partnership. Based upon all of these endeavors, that we will further promote our cooperation in various areas, including the climate change, as well as to strengthen cooperation in economic security as well as energy sectors. I am delighted that we have agreed to launch the digital partnership, which is a comprehensive cooperative framework in the digital sector between Japan and European Union. Data-free flow with trust. DFFT will be further promoted through this partnership. I also welcome and delighted that we came to agreement in having the air services horizontal agreement. We have come to substantial agreement on this agreement. Russia's aggression against Ukraine shakes the very foundation of the entire international order, not just for Europe, but for Asia as well, and can never be condoned. Japan is collaborating with G7, including the European Union, to implement a powerful sanction vis-à-vis Russia. And we have been strengthening our assistance to Ukraine. Japan and EU will be working closely based upon the perspective of the global food security, and we have agreed to make appeals to the countries in Asia and Africa. In the working lunch to follow, in view to the indivisibility of security for Europe and security for Indo-Pacific, we will be discussing how to respond to the attempts to unilaterally change the status quo by force, as well as economic coercion, and also how to respond to North Korea, including the missile development and the abduction issue, and also to discuss East Asian situation, Iranian situation, disarmament, as well as non-proliferation. President Michel will be visiting Hiroshima tomorrow. I welcome that he will be visiting Peace Memorial Museum and offer a wreath. I hope that we can work closely with the European Union to move to our grand ideals of world free of nuclear weapons. As a result of our consultation, that we are able to send a joint statement. We hope to put forward a positive and powerful message from Japan and EU. Thank you. May I now invite the President Michel.
Thank you. Dear Prime Minister, dear Fumio, it's a pleasure to meet you and your team for our 28th Japan-EU Summit. Thank you for your warm welcome to Tokyo. Today, we discussed the deepening strategic and economic partnership between the European Union and Japan. We addressed our bilateral relations and important regional and global challenges, and how best to coordinate our responses. The EU and Japan are truly like-minded partners. Together we represent a quarter of global GDP. We have a deep and dynamic relationship, united by the fundamental values of democracy and rule of law. Japan is our closest strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific region. And Russia's war against Ukraine has shown that deeper cooperation is not a luxury. It's a vital necessity. Today's summit is an opportunity to build on this momentum and to maximize the full potential of our partnership across a wide range of issues. And this summit takes place as Russia continues to savagely attack the people of Ukraine. We've responded in close coordination to condemn Russia and to impose punishing sanctions. I'd like to thank you, dear Prime Minister in Japan, for your solidarity. Together, we are providing significant humanitarian, financial and military support to Ukraine and its people. We also discussed our cooperation to prevent the circumvention of sanctions and to combat disinformation. And we are convinced those responsible for war crimes must be and will be brought to justice. We also discussed the global impact of the war on energy and food security. Our cooperation in Ukraine is critical in Europe, but it's also important in the Indo-Pacific, and we also want to deepen our consultations on a more assertive China. We believe that China must stand up to defend the multilateral system that it has benefited from in developing its country. This summit also shows our leadership in upholding multilateralism, including through reforms of multilateral bodies such as the UN, the WTO, and the WHO. We also discussed ways to boost our cooperation in security and defense. Japan is the only Asian partner specifically mentioned in the strategic compass, our roadmap for bolstering our common European security and defense, and we've already have successful joint naval exercises in the Gulf of Aden and the Arabian Sea. We want to pursue this further. In the digital domain, the launch of our digital partnership today is a milestone. In fact, it's our first digital partnership with any country. It will help us achieve our shared goals in many key areas. We are extremely pleased on the innovation and research front. Japan has expressed its interest in being associated with our Horizon Europe program. EU and Japanese students and scholars will benefit from this greater cooperation. Sharing knowledge, know-how, expertise highlights our excellent like-minded cooperation. We are also banding together to protect our planet and speed up the transition to climate neutrality. Last year, we launched our ambitious EU-Japan Green Alliance, and now we are focused on implementing it. We also discussed concrete ways to get the most out of our connectivity partnership in energy, digital, transport, and people-to-people connections. The EU and Japan have a powerful trade relationship. The EU and Japan, this economic partnership is one of the EU's key trade deals, and now we want to maximize the untapped potential of this agreement, from animal health and food security to energy cooperation or geographical indications. Dear Prime Minister Di Fumio, tomorrow I will be in Hiroshima, Prime Minister Kishida's hometown. In these challenging times, symbols matter, and we will pay tribute to the victims of the atomic bomb. The Prime Minister has long been a strong voice for a nuclear-free world, and I want to clearly reaffirm that our actions in times of conflict must forever be guided by the tragic history of Hiroshima. In light of the war in Ukraine, this will be an important moment to send a powerful message of peace and of hope. I thank you.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. May I now invite Dr. von der Leyen.
Prime Minister Kishida, dear Fumio, we had a very substantive summit, but first let me express how glad I am to be here in Tokyo, because I know that the European Union in this increasingly unpredictable world can count on one of its oldest and closest allies. And likewise because it gives me the opportunity of emphasizing once again that Japan can count on the European Union. We showed this not least by ensuring the delivery of over 390 million doses of vaccines to fight the COVID pandemic, and this gives me the opportunity to commend you to the outstanding success of your vaccination campaign and the way you overcome the difficulties of the pandemic we all have experienced. The European Union and Japan have so much in common. Our values, of course, democracy and the rule of law, our economic model, as well as a certain vision of the world. We both promote a multilateral global system based on rules designed to protect and benefit all. And it is precisely because this vision is so often challenged today that the European Union is looking to strengthen its relationship with like-minded partners such as Japan. Quite remarkably, today marks the 28th EU-Japan summit, a testament of the depth of the bond between us. At this summit, we discussed ways to deepen our partnership with concrete strands of work that will create opportunities for our economies and our citizens, and that will at the same time help us to address the challenges that our regions are confronted to. And let me elaborate on that. The Indo-Pacific is a thriving region. It is also a theater of tensions. Take the situation in the East and South China Sea or the constant threat of the DPRK. As we discussed, Prime Minister Kishida Fumio, the European Union wants to take a more active role in the Indo-Pacific. We want to take more responsibility in a region that is so vital to our prosperity. And this brings me to Russia. It is today the most direct threat to the world order, with a barbaric war against Ukraine and its worrying pact with China and their call for new and very much arbitrary international relations. Japan is part of the core group of countries that have imposed tough sanctions on Russia. Like the European Union, Japan understands what is at stake here, not just Ukraine's future, not just Europe's future, but the future of a rules-based world order. And this makes it all the more essential for like-minded partners like the European Union and Japan to strengthen their relations. And this is why we are here today. And we have taken some important steps forward. First, we are launching today the EU-Japan Digital Partnership. It is the first partnership of this kind that we conclude with any partner. A forum that will give political steer and impetus for our joint work on digital technologies, because leadership in this field is essential to our competitiveness and our security. Second, we will use our strategic partnership agreement to diversify and strengthen our supply chains. This is important because there are materials and technologies that have become essential to our economy and everyday lives, like semiconductors, for example. We must be able to count on trustworthy supply chains. Third, we agreed to cooperate more intensively on infrastructure. In the Indo-Pacific region, as elsewhere, the needs for investment are huge, and the options are limited. They very often come at a price that no country should have to pay, like encroachments on their sovereignty, for example. And this is why the European Union launched Global Gateway. And as we discussed, Prime Minister Fumio, we would like to work with Japan on identifying good projects in this context, building on our two pioneering initiatives. The one is the Connectivity Partnership, and the other one is our Green Alliance. Let me finish, Prime Minister Fumio, by thanking you warmly for the admirable solidarity that Japan showed by diverting some of its LNG supplies to Europe. It was at a crucial time for us, at the height of the European heating season, and we will not forget this. This shows the power and the solidarity of democracies working together. Thank you.
どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. This concludes the joint press announcements. Thank you very much. I thank the leaders as well as the participants. I would like to ask the member of the media to stay where you are until President Michel as well as President von der Leyen and the Prime Minister Kishida have left the hall.